Our hope is that in this video, we'll cover some important focuses of deaf community and the appropriate term to use when discussing the topic of deaf people. Capital deaf versus lowercase deaf. Deaf communities are just like every other culture. It has its own language, identity, value, morals, and so many other things. When reading or writing about deaf people, you'll notice the distinction between capital D deaf and lowercase d deaf. Capital D deaf reflects the culture, the use of American Sign Language, and its value in the community. Lowercase d deaf is used only when writing about auditory loss of hearing. The use of capital D when describing deaf people and their language is strongly encouraged. It is appropriate to view that as deaf ministry. And deaf ministry is a cultural and ethical ministry that is different from a hearing church ministry. Deaf versus hearing impaired. The term hearing impaired is a medical term that identifies the diagnosis of a hearing loss. The majority of deaf people view the term hearing impaired as a negative connotation, truly limiting their ability. Every human, every individual is unique, but there is one thing we all have in common. We all want to feel valued and be treated with respect. Deaf community proudly identifies themselves as deaf, and that is the majority of the community preference. Hard of hearing. The term hard of hearing is a term used when making a distinction between those with some type of hearing loss, but may not necessarily identify fully within deaf culture and community. Typically, those who identify as hard of hearing may use spoken language as a mode of communication, or they may use hearing aids as a tool. However, they may also use sign language at times to communicate. It's always the best practice to use the term deaf up front, and then ask the deaf person their identity preference. Understanding these terms will help your deaf ministry grow and strive as you continue on.